the other side. Cool. All right, so we're going to do trigonometry review. So we're going to start with the first thing that we should have learned is the SOHCAHTOA, right? So the trig ratios, the pros. And do you guys remember when do we use SOHCAHTOA? Right angle triangle. That's the only time you use SOHCAHTOA, okay? Is when you have a right angle triangle. Do you remember what other law theorem can you use with right angle triangle? Just with right angle triangle. There's something else that you can use only with right angle triangle. It's a theorem. Pythagorean. And do you remember what's the formula for the Pythagorean theorem? A squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is what do we call c? The hypotenuse, right? So you have a right angle triangle. Usually this is A and B, and this is your C, right? So anytime you're looking for the hypotenuse squared equals to side squared plus the other side squared. If you know what the hypotenuse and you're looking for, let's say A, if I'm looking for A, how would that change? How would my equation change? So A squared equal? C squared. Yeah. Minus b squared. That's right. Because what happened is move that b squared over, right? And instead of plus, it becomes a minus because it's the opposite operation. If you're looking for the b, what do you do? That's right. So b squared equals c squared minus a squared. So these are the three different versions of the Pythagorean theorem. It depends on what you're looking for. Which side are you looking for? Remember, always your C is your hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is the longest side. It's the side that's across from your 90 degree. It's, yeah, this means right angle, which means 90 degree. You can use SOHCAHTOA, depending on what's given to you, but you can also use Pythagorean theorem. It depends. Pythagorean theorem can be used when you're given two sides and you're looking for the third one. Okay, that's when you use the Pythagorean theorem, only in a right angle triangle. Can I emphasize this anymore? All right, only in a right angle triangle. If you know two sides, you're looking for the third, then you can use Pythagorean theorem. What's SOHCAHTOA? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. How about ka? Cosine is? Yeah, and toa is? Tan is opposite over adjacent. Now the important part is you need to be able to label your triangle properly, right? So whenever I have my right angle triangle, I'm going to have, other than the 9-degree angle, which is never my angle of interest, it's never your angle of that you're looking at. So I need to have another angle, or I need to look for another angle, okay? So let's say if this is your angle of interest here. How can you label your triangle? So which side is your opposite, which side is your adjacent, which side is your hypotenuse?
The hypotenuse is the longer side, the opposite.
So let's start with the hypotenuse. Which one is the hypotenuse?
B, the longer side.
So this one, right here. Okay, so this is called the hypotenuse, right? Because that's not going to change, right? It's not going to change because that's the one across from the 90-degree. All right, now, according to this angle, which one is the opposite side? The bottom one, right? So this is your opposite. It's very important that you know how to label the triangle, okay? And then this is called the adjacent. Okay? Now, what if I have this here? The hypotenuse is the longest side. Where's your opposite? The vertical one. And where is your adjacent? So always it's the easiest thing to locate is the hypotenuse. So locate your hypotenuse first. Then locate your opposite, because the opposite is the side that's across from your angle of interest. Then the third one is going to be your adjacent. Is that clear? Now, why do I need this? Because I need to figure out which one of these three ratios I'm going to use. Okay? So let's say if I have the following. If I have this.
What's the first thing you need to do? Label your sides. Okay? So, what do I label them? 9 is the hypotenuse. X is the opposite. Look here. This is your 40-degree, right? This is your angle of interest, right? So that means your opposite is across from it. So your opposite. That means you are looking for your opposite, right? So I'm looking for the opposite, and I know the hypotenuse, right? So which one of SOHCAHTOA sine, because sine is the one that deals with O and H. So I set it up. Sine angle equals to opposite over hypotenuse. What's my angle equal to? So sine of 40 is equal. Do I know the opposite? No. So the opposite is x. What's the hypotenuse? 9. Now how do I solve for x? Okay. 0 point. Give me 4 decimals for this one. Okay. Then multiply by 9, right? Because you want to get rid of that division by 9. So you have to bring the 9 over. It becomes 9 times
otherwise asks you. Okay? How about the angles? Angles, you have to round it to the nearest whole. Okay? Angles cannot have any decimals. All right? But when you're finding your ratios, so sine 40, I want the 4 decimals. Okay? So that's going to be 5.8 then? 8. Okay? Equals to x. And then if I give you units, I don't give you units here. I did not give you units here, so that's okay. But if I give you units, you should report your units. Okay? So what did we do? We labeled the triangle first with the opposite, adjacent, and the hypotenuse. And then we decided which one is missing and which one, which one is missing and which one is I have. Then I decided which ratio to use. Okay? So because I'm looking at O and H, I know I'm going to use so. Is that clear? Filled it out, solved. You're always going to have 2 knowns and 1 unknown. Okay? So you see that I have 2 knowns, the 40 and the 9, and I only have 1 unknown. Do you want another example? Let's look at one more. Thank you. What? Plain cold?
Yeah, I'm going to get sick. Recycled air coming back from vacation.
Oh my gosh.
I don't love that. Okay. Sorry. So what do we do here? We're looking to find the angle, which is this. Okay? What's the first thing I do? Label your triangle. All right, label the triangle for me. Okay. So this is your hypotenuse. Where's the opposite? The vertical line, right? So this is your adjacent. Okay, so the known value are, okay, so which ratio do I use? Okay, so adjacent and the hypotenuse, these are the 2 that you know. Yellow. Why yellow? We don't have any more paper. I wasn't here for a whole week. So which one do I use? Cosine. Because I know the adjacent and the hypotenuse. And the one that has A and H is cosine. Okay? So that means cosine, the angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay? Cosine is 3/7. All right. So what am I looking for? Angle. How do I solve for the angle? What? Inverse. Inverse. You guys remember how to find the inverse on the calculator? Shift and the cosine, right? Either shift or the second button. okay, depending on your calculator. So remember that anytime you're looking for the angle, you're going to have to do the inverse. So cos inverse, that -1 that you have on your calculator. And then in bracket, you're going to put the 3/7 in bracket. What do you get? 67 degrees? 65? Okay? Make sure that you put the 3/7 in brackets, otherwise it's not going to,
Do we just round it up?
yeah, always degrees to to no decimal place, to the whole number. Okay? The angles to a whole number, the sides to 1 decimal place. Is that clear for everyone? So, shift, cos. You see that cos? Yep. Press it. No, press shift first. Then don't press them together. So, shift, you see the S starting to appear. Cos, open bracket, 3 divided by 7, close bracket, and it will give you the answer.
Doesn't work on the
It should.
close.
No, you have to do, you press this button and then close.
Oh, okay.
So the INV, okay?
So if Maya,
Yeah,
you can do the division 3/7 and
yes you can.
because
Yeah.
I'm having the same answer.
Yeah. Are we okay with this? So, when you have a right angle triangle, you have 4 choices. SOHCAHTOA, so these are 3, or Pythagorean. Clear? Now, what if I have this? Any questions about this so far?
Towards 10. Yeah, 10 is opposite over edges.
What am I looking for here? I'm looking for the hypotenuse, which is right here. How do I solve for it? Okay, so you want to find what sine 70 is first? Okay, what is it? Okay. Good morning. All right, so eyes on me, please. If we are looking for the denominator, right, if I'm solving for h, what happens is the h comes to the left side or to whatever your sign is, and then the whole thing here, so that 0.9397, switches with the h. So they switch spots. Okay? So h is 4 over 0.9397. Because you're changing the multiplication to division. You're not changing signs. Okay? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Whenever you're looking for the denominator, this is what happens. So what do you get for this? What is it? 2 or 3. And remember, always, always, your answer must be the hypotenuse is always the biggest side. So if you end up with an answer that's less than 4, that means it's wrong. Right? Because the hypotenuse is the longest side.